Hi, welcome to another week of Roots Reggae Radio, Conscious Thought, Wednesday night. Thank you for all who are tuning in and growing our listenership. It is greatly appreciated to know that a voice is heading further out to people who are just as conscious, think the same vibe, and actually are about action. Before we get started tonight, I have a pay homage to one of my brethren, one of the greatest musicians that has ever come about in the Canadian reggae scene. And I can give you his resume, which will be too long. But the great Iauwata Selassie passed away this morning. So for some of you hearing it the first time, I'm sorry for dropping so, but that's how we're going, back to talk. And we just want to play a tune off the album, Rally, that he just put out this year, and we'll play a tune that suits the moment. Run through nicely.
Can you hear the voice of Emancipation?
Some more music. Running on the album, that's alright. So, it's up to the Iauwata family. I hear family coming in from all over the world already. Guyana. Members of the band that work with me for the past maybe 6 to 8 months before we had to start working at the remix. We started out at Tennessee on Queen Street. We got to document quite a bit of this part of Iauwata's journey and feel grateful that we have the footage and things. So we're going to share them with the world as soon as I can. And And it's a blessing, you know, because the one thing everybody says about him as you see him is like a glow about him. And his presence will just shine. There's always a smile and always a quick wit, you understand? And the knowledge and his information, you know. He has passed it on to a lot of people, you know. Almost every musician I talked in Toronto was somehow in a studio with or learning from or writing with Iauwata. The name of his resume is pretty extensive because of how gifted he is and was. So yeah, my agent passed out this morning, so I had to start the show with that kind of energy, unfortunately. But fortunately too, you know, because as you know, with Rastafari, sometimes we not lament about what was. We focus on what is and what his contribution has been and continues to be. You know, his health wasn't that great in the past while. Had suffered strokes. His hands were so clawed he could barely open his fingers. Yet could play the cleanest horn lines I've ever heard. And you'll see that when I show you video. The man could play right up to the end. You understand? So, Raleigh is the name of the double CD set that the band had put out back a few months ago. So, for those of you who want to help out in any way possible, as you know, these funeral things cost what they do cost. Well, I'll get you information of how to help soon and to elevate the situation. When we do pay homage to him, there's something planned next week, the 12th. So I'm not sure that's what's going to happen with that. I personally believe we should still do something because it's about a celebration. The hall was already booked, which is at Torna Plaza Hotel up at G&A. So I think we should still do something. I want to do something. I want to be there to celebrate his life. So that me really do. Carrying on a celebration. To all of the people out there who can hear those vehicles going, we have to keep the door open because it's hot in there. So it goes sometime. Today, them tell me is Emancipation Day. I woke up to a whole heap of Guyanese and Jamaican and British and all kind of flags saying happy Emancipation. You know? So, it always bothered me, even as a youth. I just couldn't articulate it to myself. So, just now, I meant to do it yesterday, but it wasn't hard to find it. I look up the word emancipation, and one of the meanings, and the one that pertains most to my plight in life, the freeing of someone from slavery. We, black people, are still thanking Massa for freeing us. We're still thanking Massa for freeing us. Right? I believe that's unnecessary. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to preach on, I'm going to play you have Declaration of Rights, Abyssinians. I want to run that tune because listen to them tune because this is kind of up that kind of line and the questions that are asked and the things that they talk about. So we'll run that track down the bridge. I'm going to play the Umar Johnson one first. How fun is that? Racism in Jamaica.
Okay. Usain Bolt tell it like it is?
No, that's not it.
Racism.
Chinese.
Chinese own Jamaica?
Yeah. That one is about 10 minutes to unfortunately, but fortunately.
Yeah.
in bondage right through these ages. Among ourselves. Still working. It's worse than the last say.
Get up and fight for your rights. Get up and fight for your rights. Sister, took us away from civilization. Brought us to slavery, this big plantation.
Big plantation! You get the right and they give it away, huh? And I kind of fight in the wrong thing. Yeah, them one another. Kind of fighting amongst ourselves. Yeah. They get it all the while. And I'm getting it in my own Canadian Reggae Media. Let's stop trying to lead one another. I don't lead nobody. I'll say what I gotta say, but I go where I gotta go. Yeah. So when you see me, you know what me I deal with. I got me I do. Just lead by no. You can't lead nobody. No, sir. I'm trying to tell them no. I'm up to that sit for them. From the youth here, practice some preach. We're dancing from and everything with heart and mind and soul. I take it deep, personal. That's what we're here to do. From a young tender age. Yeah, get up and fight for your rights, my brothers. Get up and fight for your right, my sisters. It's worse than hell, I say. They brought us to this big plantation, fussing and fighting amongst ourselves. That is their best weapon against us. Us. Fussing and fighting amongst ourselves. We are experts on that shit. So, we're not gonna argue with people anymore. You're right, we're not teach nobody nothing. Just move in your direction, sin, and live righteously we can, and let that be the example. Let your example as a human be the example. Honor, respect, integrity, and nobility. I talk about it every week, you know. So I wrote something this week, you know, and I said something about it's time for to blast off my sights on reggae music, and I spoke about the fact that everybody want to call we CanadianReggaeWorld.com, TorontoReggae.com, RootsReggaeRadio.ca, TorontoReggae.ca, I did say .com, TorontoReggae.ca. Yeah, them want to call we, you know, and everybody call we, you know, or send me a flyer. And we do post everybody's flyers, we do. I do. I know all of us post them, no question. And if we never post it, send it again, because we just might have missed it, but it's not the first time. And then, a man behind the scenes now want to come call me and say they want me kind of on board with the promotion of the situation. And I said, no, I'm not working with it. I not work for free, you know. But Cho him know me for about 40 years now. And it's like it's really a blind man look, you know, but him still being aggressive about it too, you know. And I get to realize it's not just him alone. The first word out of fame out, there's no budget for it. The word out of the government mouth when I work for the Reggae Committee, when I said, why don't you pay the Reggae Committee members? The word out of their mouth was, there's no budget for it. I'm gonna go to Harbourfront, and with a TD bank, I sponsor certain people in this country. When them come for me, our Toronto Reggae, or Roots Reggae Radio to promote reggae, then tell some of the artists tell them people that say, no, you don't have to pay those guys. We'll get them to do it because they support Canadian reggae. So they'll do it anyway for free. And for years, to be truthful, I am directly responsible for that behavior because I posted a lot of things for free. I covered shows, I took photographs. I've never charged anybody for anything that way. I believe the images and the music belong to the artist. So if I film it, it belongs to the artist. I don't keep it for myself, and if I have it, and you ask me for it, I'll send it to you again and again and again because it belongs to you. But then the time I put into it and the work I do, and everybody else pat me on my back and thank me for how much I do for it. And nobody wants to pay us. And then I went on further with the colonial mentality to prove to you that that shit is still happening, and that's why it's happening. This is white race colonialism against niggas. When if you know what is going on, when you have to stop pretending you don't know. They have us fighting amongst ourselves. This is actually working to plan. They know how lucrative reggae is. Everybody knows how lucrative reggae is. Reggae themselves are about a $300 million industry yearly. Or even closer to $1 billion, $3 billion or something so. But the money now going to the artists in hand. We have created reggae media amongst ourselves, right? That in itself is worth a lot. We put a lot of work into where we are today. And we still do it because we love what we're doing. And we're going to continue, no problem. But some of them don't call me. You understand? Don't call me. And then want to come cuss me because I don't want to promote your show for free. Okay, you want to cuss me, can't cuss too. That's how it go. But when I don't waste of time cussing, keeping the foolishness in myself. And at this point, I want to big up my sister, Ammoye Evans. Ammoye Evans go look on one of them people there. We're not calling her name now. Me call it after. And tell them so they don't have to pay away if they want us to promote her show. And the boy then pay away. Because one artist stood up. One lioness, one reggae soldier, Ammoye Evans, who's grateful to us for the work that we do for her. We promote her all over the world. We play her music every week. We talk about her. I'm on a podcast and the Virgin played her on my podcast, so all my fans will hear Ammoye. So I want to big up Umar Evans for stepping up on behalf of Reggae Media and show these colonial people, and I'll call them out, is whether them is Harbourfront or what the boy are them named now? Massey Hall or Roy Thomson Hall, TD Bank, City Hall. They have a committee, diversity in music committee. The most bullshit thing I've ever heard of, and I met some of these fools, so they know I'm speaking to them right now. Them know that too. And I'm coming still, I can come deal with you still, because I actually came with an open mind and heart to elevate something I think is important to me and the culture I live in. And they're smiling in my face, but they have no intentions of paying us. They give us Bob Marley Day, signed, decreed by John Tory last year. February 6th is officially Bob Marley Day in Toronto. And then Josh Golden, when I named Eglinton, Oakwood area, a part of it, near Reggae Lane, they're willing to pay homage to niggas they will never pay us. Well, keep the homage and stick it up your ass straight. You know, I don't want to meet you. We have to stop meeting with them. Reggae music is beyond them. They know this. They actually know it. I don't need them to help me to grow reggae music. Reggae bigger than them. Reggae is a global entity. Nobody in Canada can start reggae music. It's not possible. So because they have effectively blocked us over the past 50 to 60 years, and they have done a really good job, now all of a sudden reggae broke through the seams. So then all of a sudden we may become relevant. I tell all of my brothers and sisters out there from, you know, the people that talk about, you know, emancipation and independence. People, those are words. They've never freed. They have never freed you. You've never been freed. You're still enslaved. So am I. I'm not saying just as if I don't know. I'm one of the slaves too. I'm just trying to speak my piece. So maybe I keep talking to myself. I can talk myself around being a slave all the time. Because there's some gift of honor that you feel when you stand up for yourself, especially within a Babylonian culture and system that is made to block you. Rastafari and reggae music are resistance to Babylon. You cannot go and sit down with them. Once you join them, you are now a part of the system. Rastafari is a part of no system. It's self-governance, honor, respect, integrity, and nobility. See? So, all these politician people, I'm not joining on it. Don't call me for any more meetings, man. I'm glad that you're down. I'm glad that you actually are talking to other people to get through to me. That's cool with me. I don't want to meet with you. I will never meet with you. It is time to move away from that shit. I changed my mind. Right? Give me the Malcolm X. Happy Emancipation Day. Yeah, that. Listen to 10 minutes of intelligent wisdom. And nothing that he is saying then has changed today. So remember that. Wrong, brother.
What is your real name?
Malcolm X.
Is that your legal name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
Have you been to court to establish?
I didn't have to go to court to be called Murphy or Jones or Smith. Excuse me for answering you this way.
That's
So
all
if
right.
a Chinese person were to say his name was Patrick Murphy, you would look at him like he's insane, because Murphy is an Irish name, a European name, or the name that has a Caucasian or white background, and a yellow person. Chinese is a yellow man, and he has nothing to do or no connection whatsoever with the name Murphy. And if it doesn't look proper for a person who is yellow or Chinese to be walking around named Murphy or Jones or Johnson or Bunch or Powell, I think it would be just as improper for a black person or the so-called Negro in this country, as we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to walk around with these names. And therefore he teaches us that during slavery, the same slave master who owned us put his last name on us to denote that we were his property. So that when you see a Negro today who's named Johnson, if you go back in his history, you'll find that he was once his grandfather or one of his forefathers was owned by a white man who was named Johnson. His name is Bunch. His grandfather was owned by a white man that was named Bunch.
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
My father didn't know his last name. My father got his last name from his grandfather, and his grandfather got it from his grandfather, who got it from the slave master. The real names of our people were destroyed during slavery.
Was there any line, any point in the genealogy of your family when you did have to use the last name? And if so, what was it?
The last name of my forefathers was taken from them when they were brought to America and made slaves. And then the name of the slave master was given, which we refused. We reject that name today.
You mean you won't even tell me what your father's supposed last name was or gifted last name was?
I never acknowledged it whatsoever.
Let me ask you about the status of Elijah Muhammad. First of all, is he ill?
I spoke to him today. He's in better health than he has been. He's suffering from asthmatic bronchitis.
Is that why he didn't attend your rally on last Tuesday?
The only reason that he didn't attend was his ill condition, and the weather here, especially on that particular day, was of such nature that it would have been almost insane for him to come.
Well, now, did you hold that meeting last Tuesday because it coincided with the general election, the primary election?
I think if you study the history of Mr. Muhammad's work and religious work in this country, we've had our convention on February the 26th every year for, I think, the past 33 years.
Well, now, while you don't care to discuss your former name or the name that the slave master gave to your antecedents, it is a matter of record that Muhammad's last name was Poole, Elijah Poole.
No, that's the name that his slave master gave to his grandfather or great-grandfather, but that's not his name.
Well, his mother and father thought when they called him Elijah Poole that was his name.
They didn't know any better.
Well, if they didn't know any better or not, they thought that was his name.
Yes, sir, but
So
sir...
what I'm trying to find out is when did he cease to be Elijah Poole and get to be Elijah Muhammad?
In 1931, I think it was, in Detroit, he was taught the true history of our people and made aware at that time that he was wearing an English name, and by not being an Englishman, he looked out of place. And his teacher gave him the name that he's wearing today, Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad.
All right, now when did he become what he purports to be in your literature, the son of Allah?
I've never heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad referred to as the son
The
of
prophet
Allah.
of Allah.
I've never heard him referred to as the prophet of Allah.
What do you refer to
The
him?
messenger of Allah.
All right, the messenger of Allah, and I appreciate the correction.
Yes, he says that a prophet is somebody who predicts the future, and he's not predicting the future, whereas a messenger is someone who carries a message that has been given to him by one who authors that message.
Well, now who gave him the message and to whom is it supposed to be delivered?
Master W.F. Muhammad, the one who taught him, is the author of the message. He gave it to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which makes him the messenger. And he's to deliver that message of truth and righteousness to the 20 million American so-called Negroes, which means he's to teach us the truth, which will awaken us, and then show us how to live a life of righteousness, which will automatically qualify us for recognition as human beings by all other righteous human beings here on this earth.
Well, now one other question. With reference to what Mr. Hurlbut asked you a little bit ago, you took a very moderate position of wanting independence without having any hatred for the whites. Do I understand that correctly?
Hatred is not involved in it whatsoever.
Well, I recall in a recent plane crash, 2 or 3 years ago, or less than that, a charter flight on Air France in which a group of people from Atlanta, Georgia were, as they say, in the business, as they took off from Marley Field. And you were quoted at that time as expressing great gratification that this tragedy had occurred. Do you recall that?
I recall it.
What did you say? Do you remember?
The press misinterpreted it and misrepresented it.
What did you say?
They said that it was made at a Muslim meeting. It wasn't. It was made at a rally of Negroes, Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, and otherwise in Los Angeles, who were rallying to protest the brutal shooting of 7 unarmed Negroes
And what did you
by
say?
heavily armed white policemen in the city of Los Angeles. And because we are a people who have been taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to never carry weapons of any kind, but to get on God's side and rely on God to fight our battles for us, at the time that these brothers were shot down so brutally, I pointed out at the funeral of the brother who died that God would step in and take a hand in giving us some form of justice for the brutal killing of our brother. And when the plane crashed in France, I pointed out to the crowd at this rally that this was an act of God showing his wrath or complete resentment over the brutal form of injustice that had been inflicted upon our poor unarmed brothers.
Were you saying that or did
Billy
you believe
Graham, at that time, Dr. Billy Graham was in a crusade in Chicago, and the press, your papers here in this city, quoted Billy Graham of also saying that plane crash was an act of God. And if you take time to check the newspapers, I think that you'll find that this is correct. But no one thought that Billy Graham was so wrong when he attributed the crash of this plane to his God. But when we say that come from our guy, then we're looked upon as being, outrageous.
I know, but you took the position that this was a matter of satisfaction to you for an injustice done against you, and I think that that's a trifle severe.
We did not think that it was a coincidence that 120 of the whites on this plane came from the state of Georgia, a state that has the worst record in the history of America for the mistreatment of black people in this country.
Worse than Mississippi?
They maybe are a little less. Mississippi is a little less hypocritical today than Georgia, but both of them are still practicing the same thing. Now the whites in Georgia bite Negroes with a smile, whereas they used to bite them with a growl. But they're still being bitten, and we don't think that it is any worse to be bitten with a smile than it is to be bitten with a growl.
Thank you.
Mr. Calvert.
While we're on the subject of Mississippi, what is your organization's position of what happened in Mississippi in the past?
Such as what?
Such as the James Meredith incident and the enrollment of him in the university.
Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants justice for every one of the 20 million so-called Negroes, and to just take one Negro and stick him in college with the aid of 15,000 troops and at a cost of $6,000 is a disgrace. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. It's a farce. It's hypocrisy. Because if it's right for one Negro to be forced into that university, then every Negro in the state of Mississippi who is qualified has the same right to go to that university. And if the government is not ready and willing to enforce the right of every Negro in the state of Mississippi, then, in my opinion, sir, it's only hypocrisy to pretend that they are for justice by pushing one Negro in and blowing it up all over the world to make it look like they're solving the problem when millions of black people in that state are still going to segregated schools and getting an inferior education.
Does your organization encourage members to attempt to enter schools that have been known as all white?
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad doesn't discourage us from attending white schools, but he does say that it is better for us to go to our own schools. And after we have a thorough knowledge of ourselves, of our own kind, and racial dignity has been instilled within us, then we can go to anyone's school and we'll still retain our race pride, our racial dignity, and we will be able to avoid the subservient, inferiority complex that most Negroes have, that is instilled within most Negroes to receive this sort of integrated education.
Yeah. So, what was talked about then, the uppity superiority, white supremacist voice can be heard in the tone by which they tried to speak to Malcolm, who was light years ahead as it pertained to mental capacity, IQ, and wit. It was three white men, and you can go and look up that piece on YouTube yourself and re-listen to it and watch them try to explain. Billy Graham said a plane when it goes down and it's an act of God, but when the Muslim said it, he's saying that he's rejoicing in it because 120 of the people who died, white people who died in the plane, were from a state where the police just murdered black men, unarmed black men. Wow, shit. 2017, we're still doing the same shit. We're still punching a 19-year-old kid in the face till he loses an eye. The problem isn't the police, Star. I'm telling this already. The people who might pay the police, The government people I get paid too. Them is not the problem. We are the problem. We keep accepting the behavior. Can't blame everybody else all the time. They speak of fear and hatred. That white man was so afraid. He says, you want to segregate, but you don't want to fear and hatred because of what they did to us. They knew if we had to turn it back on them, it wouldn't be good. I wrote a piece one time long ago and I sent it, and I think it offended almost everybody. I think it was a piece, I called it, Oh, Hang a White Boy. That was the name of the piece I wrote. And I wrote it because there was a Halloween. I believe it was in 2010. And Campbellford, Ontario, thank you, jeez. I want to big up to all my KKK people hanging out listening to Roots Reggae Radio in Campbellford, Ontario. So there was a Halloween jam and two dudes showed up. One showed up with a KKK suit and a mask, and the other dude showed up in blackface with a rope around his neck. Campbellford, Ontario, 2010. Look it up. So it made the news. The Legion that they had the jam at apologized for the insensitivity of the gesture. But what was the best, one of the better parts of the story, the dude in the KKK costume, wink wink, like it's on his regular friggin' clothing, was a retired police chief, police officer, or chief, it's same thing. And out in Campbellford, there's enough KKK people out there. That's where they gravitate towards. And you know, now this is the best part of the story. They won best costume. So it angered me so much because nothing got done about it. The white government in Ontario or federal government said or did nothing about it. And I just kept getting angrier. So I was saying to myself, you know, with the anger that courses through us, you know, being a writer and I do different things, I write fictions and whatever, I started to think of a scenario where, because I'd heard a conversation where if white men were dying at the same pace as black men through racial tension and racism, that racism would fix itself quickly, because if it's a 1-for-1, it's millions of white men would start dying. So what if search parties of black dudes were walking around and picking on random white dudes like they do with us? Like, how would that work? And hangings that they've done to us. I'm not purporting violence to anybody. That's not what I'm about. I'm just pointing out what is done. Them say what good for the goose is good for the gander. What if the relationship was returned? It would change everything. It would become more violent for a minute, but I believe there'd be a different look to racism for the future in that way. So, as much as them can hang you, we can hang them. And that was kind of like the basis of the piece. People were offended, but only offended because they never thought of it that way. They have put so many images of us in books and in film of us being hanged that we are used to it. We're cool. Many of us are cool with it because we've seen it so often. You don't rarely see white dudes hanging unless it's in some kind of old-time Western. I don't think they show their faces. But we got a ton of images of us being hung. So, let's change the rhetoric, let's change the culture, let's change the look of what is happening, you know? Emancipation, independence, them things is words, people. Toronto, reggae, Roots Reggae Radio, Canadian Reggae World. We're gonna speak and bring reggae music the way it's supposed to be. Reggae is a spiritual thing, you know. A lot of people think, yeah, no, we're doing it for money. Yeah, we're gonna do it for money. We're talking about paying us for work and paying us for advertising, but we're doing the work. We're not just running a reggae station and licking lollipops all day. We work at this. We have events, we promote, we interview, we do all the things we have to do to elevate reggae music, And we're gonna find a way, reggae for life, that's my thing. I promote it all the time. I'm gonna try and create a brand of my own that is dedicated to the reggae community and the reggae market globally, not just Canada. You're just lucky that it came out of Canada, that's all. But we're gonna try and do things because I believe we don't need these people. I don't need them. So I won't meet with them. I suggest many of us within the community to stop meeting with these people and start meeting amongst ourselves and creating opportunities amongst ourselves. Because only we know we, them to know we. And stop looking for handouts. These grant programs is what making our brains soft. Yeah, I'm saying some people can get grants. My son put on a video on Much Music yesterday, which means he got Video Factor, some kind of grant money. It worked for him. I've spoken to reggae artists, including Espa Levi, who Factor paid for their album or paid for a tour. So the system works for those who want to put in that kind of work. But I'm saying we don't need that. We have other avenues and outlets. I want to big up the one called African Star. Right now, this weekend at Sankofa. I think I have to read it out, but the reason I'm bringing him up, especially since it's Emancipation Day and all that thing there. Sankofa is the only reggae bar in town, the only bar in town that plays reggae music live and DJ pretty much 7 days a week. And enough people need to go there and see Wagwan because it's live reggae music. Some are really good artists, some may not be the greatest, but some are really good. And African Star himself spins all the time. There's another gem. But they're bringing Lloyd Coxon to remix on Friday. Radigan is in the UK making all kind of noise and money, But when I have a man named African Star, when I hear about it like it's a myth or something. No, it's African Star, the real thing. And enough of them man, they don't want really go pay and dance with him. Because I'm still bad like from time. Some man kind of fall off. Him can't fall off. Every night of the week, I play music. One night of the week, the young youth, them I play with, so I have to keep it fast, like the youth them. Right? I gotta big him up. Because Sankofa is the only bar in town playing reggae music literally 7 days a week. So, the item forgot it. Go check out CanadianReggaeRoad.com, RootsReggaeRadio.ca, TorontoReggae.ca. See the listings for this weekend. There's a jam at Harbourfront with Blessed and Ammoye and Lindo P and DJ Chocolate. I will read these things off later in the show, but I just want to point out to you that there's a lot going on all the time. Reggae is a business. Reggae will become a business. Them can't stop me. Them boy can't stop this. See? So we just need to stake our claim like we supposed to. And when things pop off, them still have to come to we fit. But it's interesting that, so many of the people within our community don't come to us. It's like they expect free labor from these Roots Reggae Radio or Toronto Reggae or Canadian Reggae Road. We respect you, we respect your music, but respect us for what we do. Again, Ammoye Evans, big up to you, my little sister, for speaking up on behalf of Reggae Media. It took a lioness to open the door. You were the first. So big up to you. I'm going to play one of your tunes them right now. Earl, I have one set up for you.
Jamaican sun has come out to shine for me today. Yeah. With the strength to climb up that mountain. Yeah.
We have this music called.
They try to put in my way. I'm moving
Okay, now sit down, search up on all
down.
of this.
Never ever come to this little
That's the title of the
Hold on, yeah.
No matter what you do, you try to keep me down.
Everything, man. I like this on my mind.
Yeah. Baby too.
Oh, okay.
When the sun comes looking for me, when the sun comes to shine on me, yeah, I push hard like life in the ghetto, yeah. So it would take much more than you to stop me. You give me a mickle, I make it a muckle, yeah. I'm like that small axe taking down big trees. So count me in, don't leave me out. Never ever come this morning, Jamaican girl, yeah, out. No,
I love you.
no matter how it seems, you'll never get a chance to kill my dreams or my self-esteem. No, yeah. The bright Jamaican moon always comes to guide me through the night, darkest nights. So I can stand up in any crowd. So you can hear what I got to say. Count me in and don't leave me on. Never ever underestimate this your jam down girl. No way. And don't make no mistake. You'll never get a chance to take me down. I'm gonna win this race. Yeah.
The Timbales, you know? I said, the one that's Umar Johnson, how would you when I sent you?
The one that the Chinese one,
Yeah, that's that Umar.
and then they have the recent one from Usain Bolt.
Right, that's what I want.
When the sun comes looking for me,
Check this up, look at it. Big topic, big topic.
Go play it Ammoye again, alright?
Yes, please. When you are doing this.
You just call it. Oh, baby, it's you. I love that track there.
Just shine on me. Don't count me out. That's my girl, Ammoye Evans. You're a bad like a Jamaican girl. She not back off on nobody. And when you meet her, she look little and thing now, but look at what she tell her. See? She turn up to certain people, you know, or rate her for it. Because enough artists come before her, come call me around the corner and beg me freeness. From major companies like Massey Hall and Thomson Hall and all these big people. Yeah, you know what? Their explanation is that they aren't getting the same budgets that they used to. Yeah, but you still have playing for Johnny Osborne for coming here. You still have put him up in a hotel. You still have pay everybody upon the show. So why are you contacting me now with no budget? Like, you're gonna have a show but nobody knows about it. And then you want me to advertise it for free. What's in it for me? I don't get it. Anyway, I'm gonna work on this all night because there's more to come. There's so much more to come because this goes deeper. This is a colonial mentality that I myself am a part of and bought into it. And I'm learning to unplug. So emancipate thyself from mental slavery. And as Errol and I did talk about, we want a twin spin for Miss Ammoye. So before I get any deeper, Miss Ammoye, baby, it's you.
Every time I see you, whenever I'm around you, baby, and my heart goes away. Baby, you're a shelter in any kind of weather. I feel safe and secure 'cause you're there. So if you ask me, I'll be right here next to you.
Something in plan for me next. Like what trend are you going on?
No, don't ask me twice.
Baby, it's you.
Baby, I choose you. Oh,
Yes, I do. Can you bump into my fire?
Baby, it's you.
How do I do it? Oh, okay. I'm gonna say some things that make me smile tonight. I'm thinking some heavy things. I like that BT record one with Sanchez. Then alright, here we are now. Sanchez. We got that whole album. Yes, that's it.
Now I know the reasons for the hurt, the pain, and crying. It got me here with you today, and now I see why the others before you had to go away. So if you need me, I'll be right here next to you. Oh, and if you ask me, I'll be right here.
On the IBADAN.
Call on me, baby, and I'll be right here.
78, that's what I get. I like that track, yeah. Rastafari.
Don't ask me twice, 'cause baby, it's you. Baby, I choose you. Oh, baby, it's you. Baby, it's true. I choose you. Baby, it's you.
I love him. Alright. It's just knowledge music reggae.
Show me what you love is. Oh, what I real love is.
Yeah, my girl, Ammoye, make me want to dance and rent a tile. You know, we got to talk about me. Tell her also next time we see me, I better dance for that track, you know. Yeah, thank you for your bravery and your, I don't know, you're a true reggae soldier, to tell you the truth. And this is what I want to talk about now at this point, is that we're a victim of self, as the Abyssinians were telling in their Declaration of Rights, fussing and fighting amongst ourselves. Because this vibe, reggae music, is unruly. It cannot be contained. The music itself cannot be contained. That they're aware of. That's frustrating as shit. No matter how you play Marley, people will still go and find more, and that's how they learn about the systemic degradation that they've been facing for years. So, what Ammoye did is something significant, because she was able to give value to herself by saying, I need more promotion and you aren't providing it. And two, I know the people who do it and you have to pay them. Can you imagine if more reggae artists spoke up that way? They would have more pride in self, because they deserve more, so they demand more. And then when I say demand, I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, if you want to do this right, you get it to the right people who get it to the right ears and eyeballs. And that's what we do. We spend our time at Reggae Media for 10, 15 years. We've been doing it a while, so, you know, by default, we know more people than you. Because of all the shows that I've done, successful and failures, touched thousands and thousands of people. And so has Toronto Reggae, and so has Roots Reggae Radio. So here we are, people. Ammoye stepping up to let them people know we need to be compensated. That's interesting to me. She has pride in herself and her pride in her music and pride in her management, so I always big her up and look at sister, and it's what you've done is open my eyes to the fact that again, this colonial mindset that we're under, some of us are afraid to ask massa for more. Ammoye wasn't afraid to ask massa for more. She has stepped up because that's what she does. That's what reggae music does. Reggae music is truth music, man. Lions and lionesses only, man. That's why some of y'all are crying about this and that, about my career and this career. You're not getting no vibes because you're not saying nothing. Yes, I run your mouth. You're in a studio every night, I sing music and I go on like that. Just because you're in a studio, you're an artist. No, okay. It goes to every part of your being, in every aspect of who you are. So you have to learn how to step up as a reggae soldier. A reggae soldier is not an easy job, because not all of us are going to be Bob Marley. Okay? We're going to have to do a little better now. She taught me a lesson. Ammoye taught me a lesson. It takes the right person, the right place to say the right thing. I have children, I can't have them watch them father working for free. What kind of example I set somebody pick me them when all I do is freeness? No, man. I have to teach them their own sense of self-worth. See? The other aspect of this thing is timing, the budget thing. There is no budget. If there is no budget, why are you calling? I've spoken about it before and I'm doing it again. If you have no budget, why are you calling me? No disrespect. If you want my people, you're gonna help me to get more people. The more you pay me, the more people I get. And the more people I get, the more chance we have of getting bigger and bigger shows. That's how this works. You're stifling yourselves by not stepping up to the plate and doing what you're supposed to do. Alright? The mentality of freeness is a colonial thing. When we were on the plantation, and there was Emancipation, they freed the slaves. Some of them didn't want to leave the plantation because they had nowhere to go. They had no job. The only thing they knew was massa taking care of them. So we stayed on the plantation worked a lot of land that was around us, and Massa gave us X amount of money for the amount of crops that we made. We gave to him. He was making a massive profit. His home only got bigger. And some of us made a little bit of extra. And some of us just kept surviving on the same plot of land and never elevated. Cannot blame white people for that shit. That's us. The mentality of freeness runs through us. We expect things free from each other. And then if you, some of the people last week, you know what their excuse was, bro? They paid for ads on Now magazine. So them couldn't pay us. Well, if you were so proud to go, and I think Now magazine is a very effective tool. Well, if you paid them, stick with them. No, if you paid us and you felt closer to the show, it wasn't working, could you reverse what you did? Call Now magazine and say, look, man, we gave our money to Canadian Reggae World and Roots Reggae Radio, Toronto Reggae. We gave our money to them, but we're not too sure. Do you mind just giving us a blast? You think Now magazine went to that funnel? If Now magazine is gonna do it for you, why are you asking me? It's a colonial mentality. You want to pay the white master, but you don't want to pay amongst yourselves. Gotta break the trend, brothers and sisters. And if it doesn't break, I'm gonna break you anyway. Don't call me. I'm gonna break some of you. And some of you won't, you know, honestly, straight up, I have a great regard and respect for music and for people. And some of you don't know the business, but you're running your mouth. So what we're going to do is try and educate you and show you how this works. What Ammoye did was pretty smart. She's a really good artist, a headliner. She's going to be at Roy Thomson Hall this Friday. I think it's a free event, and it's right at the corner of Simcoe and King Street. You go downstairs and there's a bar and food and tables, and there's a fountain in the middle, and the stage is on water. It's a real nice energy and vibe, and it sounds good. J. Douglas is gonna be there as well as the headliner. And she said, nope, I need more of my people to know where I am performing. She's really looking out for herself, which she's supposed to. But in her looking out for herself and what's best for her, it supported us. Kill the freeness and mentality of my people. Man, they're wrong somebody for not call for freeness, yeah, so I'm gonna play you an interview by I don't remember this Idrian name, but he's interviewing Usain Bolt. Since today is Emancipation Day and all, I wanted to point out to you that even in 2017 or 2013 or whatever it was, I'm showing you the colonial mentality that is still prevalent in Jamaica. And it's important. So run that for me, brother.
Have you ever experienced classism or racism in Jamaica?
Yes, definitely.
You experienced that in Jamaica?
Yeah, man. A lot.
Even though you also feel emotion?
Yeah, because people look at things as you're coming up and you're building yourself, and other people don't want to see that. And it's just life.
That's the people in Jamaica.
I've learned to just understand that not everybody's going to appreciate what they have done. You understand? Some people, especially when I started out, it was more shocking than anything. That's why I said you have to learn from experience.
Yes.
And when I started out, that's how I ended up buying my house. Because I was living in a complex.
Yes.
And I had issues with a few of the lighter
like the skin people.
You understand?
Why can't you bring your dancehall friend them and make up nice and area?
No, I used to live near a lawyer. And I remember when I moved in, he said to me, listen, be careful now. So what he said, they don't like to see young people strike because when I came in here, I was just 23. And then they weren't happy to see me in this complex. And I couldn't believe it. And when it started happening to me a couple of times, I said, no, I have to buy a house and move out so I can have my own place.
You see what?
So I had to
experience that.
Yeah, man.
So when they like to skin people,
they're not too happy to see it because a lot of them, because they go to school and work years and years to reach, and me just come up because I'm supposed to get everything and I live here, so I do this. They're not.
So bad mind, I said, go experience bad mind in Jamaica.
Strong one, strong.
Strong bad mind.
Strong.
From people in upper class though.
People are upper class. Most of the people are upper class because they get the youth and everybody love me and they want to see me and them. They just happen to see me and I say, boy, thanks to Jamaica, boy, really. Even people see me and say, boy, even though I went to Miami for a show, and I remember a Spanish, a Latino guy was saying to me, listen, you have seen a lot of celebrities come through here. And you are one of them, the one that I love the most. Why? Because you have come from nothing and you have stayed humble and I respect that about you. And for me, that makes you feel good. You understand? So, something I really love.
Important disclosures on profile. You see it as experience, discrimination, classism, racism in his own country. This will continue to be a talked about interview. We take a final break.
No, that won't be a talked about interview. That is in that interviewer, viewer's mind. And maybe things that he might uncover something but we never did know already. We have always known this. This is Usain Bolt, the same Usain Bolt that all of you over here are worshipping. In one country in Jamaica, them have some light-skinned people down there who look down them nose at him. Usain Bolt now has amassed wealth greater than a bunch of them put together. But because their families have been rich forever, that's why they have resentment of him. Cause they take what they call like a hurry come up nigga boy. Sorry, nigga. So when I say nigga. That's how we talking. Them not like that. Well, the one thing about racism, classism, or anything you want to talk about, when it has an ism attached to it, the lighter skinned the person, the more they perceive themselves as inferior, as superior to the rest of us. So people bring it on to classism, but it's still actually racism. Don't get shit twisted. The lighter the skin is the richer the prick. Trust me on that. And they stick together for generations, centuries. This is not news, man. And so if Jamaica is to elevate, many of us have to speak these truths. I not tell nobody if we go in nobody's yard and burn down their yard and rob them. Because that is what them is all afraid of, and they should be, because they have degraded a darker skinned set of people for decades. The minute we got so-called independence from the very first prime minister that was put into the country, but then call him now Sir Alexander Bustamante. From her name Sir, you know, so I'm not good for it. Because she was so proud of him, she served him. She knighted him. They knight people who serve the British Empire. Serve. In order to serve her, he had to sell out Jamaica to her. England owned the Commonwealth. Common to whom? It's only common to her bank account. So, you're living in a colonial empire in Canada. Reggae music is what it is. We as black people are bought and sold. That's how the stock market actually started, with us. Our certificate stock, we were the stock, and our certificate is the bond. They held in check. And that's how the plantations knew how rich they were by the amount of slaves they had. That was the first. And they were trading slaves. Believe it or not, that's how the stock market was founded. On niggas. You don't believe me? Look it up. I'm not making up any of this stuff. You know, see? So, to Usain's point, I'm gonna go right into another very important piece. I sent this one to a couple of my children, young children, because me not sway them, and I just want them to hear the information, and then once they hear the information, they can make a determination for themselves. This is a man called Dr. Umar Johnson. People have said that he is so-called very controversial. He's not controversial, he just speaks a truth. The only problem with him for them is that he speaks it really loudly. He screams at people. And he's very good at attacking some of what we would call house niggas. Because part of the success of colonialism is that we are self-policed. There's a Judas, a modern day Judas, around every corner. So when one of us steps out of line, one of our own people come back and put us back in the line and say, yo, massa, watch yourself. If you don't do this, you get in trouble, man. Don't do it. And we actually listen to these people because we want to get along. But Dr. Umar Johnson doesn't do that. So he spoke about the property around the world and who it's owned by. And this is a good 10 minutes. So when they get past in Jamaica point, we can probably stop it. But listen to this man and what. This is not news either that he's giving you. You know this stuff already. I just like the way he says it. So, Papa Era, give me the thing now.
The bitter side is the fact that we're not treated well over there. I'm not surprised at that. But I was taken aback by the extent to which racism is practiced against blacks in China openly. So in America, we have a civil rights culture. So racism, you have to tuck it under.
It has to be covert.
It has to be covert. And China is very much
So
overt.
like what kind of things happen? I've never been to China. I've always wanted to go.
Is Japan too or just China?
I'm gonna say China, not so much in Japan.
They show a lot of love
Yeah.
our culture.
More so
They really respect
China,
our culture, yeah.
because America has a very close relationship with Japan. They're the third leg of the Trilateral Commission. So the Japanese are considered the white men of Asia. So we're speaking of China in particular. There were certain nightclubs that we couldn't go into.
Really?
Oh yeah, and they will tell you no black people are allowed here. There's certain sections of certain neighborhoods you can't live in. So for example, if they don't want you in a certain section in Brooklyn, they will just use clever real estate tactics to keep you out. Okay, i.e. your credit ain't good enough or the bank didn't approve you a loan. They don't have to do that in China. Exactly.
They're direct with it.
They're direct with it. We don't want black people here. They're taking over Africa.
They're taking over the Caribbean.
They're all in South Africa. In fact, Mandarin is now an official language in the Republic of South Africa. Zulu isn't. Xhosa isn't. So the indigenous languages are not taught in the school, but Mandarin is. That speaks to the influence of China. But they don't roll out the red carpet for us in China.
So it's different.
Now remember now, when you travel throughout Asia, okay, particularly when you go to Southeast Asia, they get darker skin. For example, in Vietnam, there's Vietnamese who look just like us.
Yeah.
They have the Asian phenotype, okay, the face structure, but the skin tone and the hair is just like us. I remember speaking to some elders who served in Vietnam. They said we brought some of those prisoner of wars on the truck, and they look like they could have been from North Philly or South Bronx. They look just like us. The Cambodians look just like us. Even in China, there's certain places you can go where the Chinese are black skinned with nappy hair. Again, the Asian face structure, but totally African because we're the first to settle China.
There's
Remember
so many
Buddha.
Chinese Jamaicans though. There's a lot of Chinese Jamaicans.
Yes.
There's a lot.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So remember now, Buddha comes from India and goes into China. And I had a chance to visit a Buddhist temple, but Buddha was a black man. And when you look at any of the early statues of Buddha, you clearly see the locks and the twisties. He doesn't get the modern phenotype of the Asian until the past 100 years or so. But any ancient statue of Buddha clearly shows him as an African. Same thing with Krishna, the god of the Vedic tradition. Krishna means the black one, and Buddha means the black face. So clearly there's an African origin of Asia, but there's an African origin no matter where you go in the world, because we're the first to build every civilization everywhere. So I don't care if you're in Mexico, if you're in Europe, who were the first Europeans? The Grimaldi's of Africa, who migrated 20 to 40,000 years ago, and in the process of climatology, lost the pigmentation, the deep pigmentation that we have. So no matter where you go, we were the first people.
Is there any place in the world we can go and not experience racism?
No, not at all.
Even the Caribbean?
Not even in the Caribbean. In fact, when I was in Jamaica, I keynoted the Garvey celebration last summer, Ocho Rios. The Chinese pretty much own Jamaica. I mean, the Jamaican government is giving them concessions, land concessions. They're building hotels, beach resorts. They're building 2 schools for the Japanese, for the Jamaicans. And what the Jamaicans have to give them in turn is the right to certain lands, the right to certain waterways. And if it doesn't stop, Jamaica, ironically, the land of Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley, will be the first Chinese colony in the Caribbean.
Wow.
It's getting bad. And you know why it's happening? Because the black bourgeoisie leadership in both Africa and the Caribbean live with the consequences of the economic decisions they make. So if I'm the president of Jamaica, okay, and China says, listen, we're going to give you $1 million in retirement, we're going to build you a retirement home, but we want this, this, and this. And you can loan as much money as you want, you can borrow as much money from the Bank of China as you want. I'm going to be set by the time I leave office. But what about my nation? Jamaica will be struggling for the next 50 or 75 years because of bad economic decisions from selfish leaders today. And that's the problem in Africa, and it's the problem in the Caribbean.
No, that's true. I remember, I love going to Angola, and a couple years ago, just one of the guys on the island was like, the Chinese taking over everything here.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And we were just talking about when I was in the Bahamas, and everybody got mad about this. The Bahamas, the Chinese people were building that hotel.
Well, you got to remember, China is overpopulated. So it's always looking for opportunities to dump some of this excess population.
Yeah, man.
And you know...
Well, hold it there, sir. Thank you, sir. I just wanted you to hear that part about Jamaica. People around the world know this information. Jamaica has been sold out. Me have people talk to me about the highway the Chinese were building in Jamaica. And they didn't hire any Jamaican laborers. All of the workers were Chinese. So, we're very good at being divided and conquered constantly in our own countries. And people are going to say, well, you know what, if you really think about it, if you guys were better, it wouldn't happen to you. It's not happening to anybody else, so you guys are weaker, so that's why it's happening. We're not weaker. We're just not as interested. It's funny, when you bring up all of the hotel them and tell us that we can't go there and all them things there and bourgeois and yourself, saying your children and your children's children and their friends, people coming in from North America, would sooner go up into the hills with the Rasta people them there and eat food and bun spliff. The things that you want to beat out of Jamaica are the things that people around the world want to do with us Jamaicans. The resort thing makes you millions, I get it, but there's a spiritual existence about Jamaica that you're trying to destroy and you can't destroy. Build all the schools, build all the things, rape who we need for rape, but we're there out there. We're going to talk the talk and we're now back off. I'm fighting this fight straight up in Canada in the middle of the colonial belly, Emancipation Day. Nah, King. I'm not celebrating any of that shit. Alexander Bustamante being our first prime. He was that bourgeois that she's talking, that Umar Johnson's talking about. Sir Alexander Bustamante and his class of Jamaicans, Matalan, Issa, Amar, Akar. I went to school with all them regents and again. Woolmans, bourgeois schooling. And that's when I started to learn how disrespectful Jamaicans are to other Jamaicans. Jamaica, to me, is more important than the bourgeois people. And as I said on numerous occasions, it may sound like racism or even some kind of whatever ism. But you never say no middle class or upper class or any them people in Jamaica. You never hear about none of them do nothing for Jamaica yet. Not one. Everything great come out of Jamaica, come out of the ghetto. That means that we have a problem. You know, the people and the viruses, the cancers that are pulling down Jamaica live up in a Beverly Hills and them places. So, me not suggest that we go up there and beat up people, eh? But at some point, those people up there, they better wise up and start treat Jamaicans and other Jamaicans with respect and come down out of their hill and castle and act like a Jamaican and start looking after the people of the country. Because Jamaica is a pool of very talented people. Last week, Jamaica got the finals of the Gold Cup and got lose to United States. And for the first time in the history of the Gold Cup, the Jamaican goalkeeper get best goalkeeper. Because the youth fly after everything. The youth come like Batman. The contract in Europe are huge. I said to some people one time, years ago, that Jamaica could actually win the World Cup of soccer. And people laughed at me, man. Well, me, like I said, me's a baller. So me play against man where Saddam was playing in Syria and international leagues around the world. And I am an average player and ended up being the MVP for the league and all kind of foolishness. Them have Jamaican players way better than me. We have always had great players. Linda Della Penna, if I remember the name there, I don't know which team he used to play for, Watford or Blackpool or one of them teams there. He still has the scoring record from back in the 1930s and 40s. The first black man and the first Jamaican to play in the English league, and still has the goal record for the club goals, right? What Jamaica needs is about maybe 3 or 4 academies in different parts of the island. Maybe 2 in Kingston alone, and 2 in Clarendon. Clarendon produce great players. See? And C, bringing youths, age 9 to maybe 14 or 15. That is the integral years of football, I think. That's when you really start to learn to play the game at an intellectual level. And that's when I learned the game. I'm gonna tell you, say Jamaica can play in the world. Jamaica can win the World Cup of football. We can win it. Not just playing it. So I am looking at the talent pool and the talent structure that comes out of Jamaica, and I'm looking at the people who keep the country down with their money. Them can have them own schools, them can have them own this and that, and them own properties them live on and gated thing now, and you know them safe. But they are Jamaicans too. But they want to alienate the ghetto. How can you do that and say you're a Jamaican? Jamaicans don't do that to Jamaicans. We're too proud of them, you know. Not one of you who live in the gated communities have contributed close to what Robert Nesta Marley has done, or Usain Bolt, or Peter Tosh, or Bunny Wailer, or Garnet Silk, or Dennis Emmanuel Brown. The list is endless of Jamaicans, you know, who have created so much for our country, coming out of our ghettos, which means the talent pool we reside with live in our ghettos. So we should elevate them. But colonialism not like that. Them want the little man stay a little, and the poor man just stay as a sufferer. No, the king, we don't know that. We fight for native people. The Rastafari against domestic abuse. Can't leave it out no week, no time. Reggae for Life is about all these positive things. So, I want some music. Talk too much tonight. I just had so much to say. Too much to say. Errol, you talk about something. What you want to tell me about?
No, nothing. Just deck of cards. You know. Just
alright.
Cool.
Yeah, wait, you know, we ain't pray for now. Errol feel bad for now. You want to pray for now. Run tune.
Sorry for them.
Alright, now I got to come, King. This is the time. I'm going to the podcast. I did a podcast last week. I went in there. Yeah. We start interview who. So why them want me so bad?
When I see the Jewish white
White people have money. You don't know how many they confident with that, but they're on the radar.
Oh, good. That's how we throw enough cards out there, no?
Throw a card.
We throw cards in other cards out there, no?
Okay.
About the roots regularly.
Alright.
There's people from all nations have a listen, and them all gravity, them all hear things. And we don't know what them all
Throw a card, I'm going to throw a card to get some.
And you throw a card, you know?
Throw a card.
Throw a card. Yeah. I'm a little bit.
Yeah, you bring Joseph. I'm going to bring Joseph Wills to work on.
Yeah, we do certain things, you know.
No, not doing. Let's say that I'm wrong, you know. It means that. Yeah.
Are you all got your love got a hold on it, man?
Yeah, right. Your love or love? Sanchez. Did they put it over the way?
The Sanchez, not Sanchez already. I've done it slow now, look.
Oh no, Sanchez singing that one.
Okay,
that's what he's singing.
Okay.
Love got a hold on me. Sorry.
Okay.
We can pick some more tunes to go. Pick 2 tunes, man. I want anything from my file. Maybe a mentor, maybe a rock steady, maybe anything. I always just want reggae from all over the place. Canadian, anything.
Alright.
Ever living God, most rightful ruler. Jah. And them say, Rastafari. Yeah, I'm gonna read off a couple of events coming up this weekend. I promised to do it. And I talk so much, I forget to do my job. So, let me scroll down here on CanadianReggaeWorld.com. Roots Reggae Radio.ca. Roots Reggae Radio.ca. You wanna talk to the station? Info at rootsreggaeradio.ca. You know, grateful to live in a city and a time where I'm able to speak openly. You don't know, I said there's places in this world I cannot open my mouth and say the things that I'm actually saying right now. And that's the truth. So, where is it now? Friday, August the 4th, live on the patio at Roy Thomson Hall. When you get to the corner of Simcoe and King, you will hear the music. It's J. Douglas and Ammoye, and it's a free event. You're seeing a couple of world-class performers for free, and it's a real nice setting. It's like very picturesque. It's very soothing. You can sit down with your pina colada and pretend you're somewhere else. Peanut colada. And then at the Harbourfront, Island Soul, the late night vibe. I believe, I'm not sure if it's that night the club's open late, but anyway, no, come early still, you know. Yeah, it goes from 10:30 to 3 a.m. And you're going, it's $5 to go in. It's a Harbourfront jam, right down by the water, all kind of romancifications. And people like Nobleworks, Lindo P, a gate featuring Nadia Harris, Ammoye, Blessed, DJ Chocolate, 235 Queens Key West, Queens Quay, for someone who can't speak English. The Brigantine Room, the sound in the room is nice. See? Brigantine Room, $5. Come in, it's the after party for the things that are going to be happening. I think Janet Osborne, Sister Nancy, and then people that are going to be on before that. But right now, come to that after party because my sweet Ammoye gonna be on there. Bad Boy Blessed, Linda P, Chocolate, a Gabe featuring Nadia Harris. Vibes are nice. $5. We're run late. And then on Sunday, at Sankofa, and just call it the Reggae Caravana Showcase Party. Them dashing every name they could have find. Go on, you know Michael Garrick that. Trust me. Laser Current on the show, big up Laser Current. Michael Garrick, Ras Ali, Clifton Joseph will be the MC, Keith Rang's gonna be on there, Papa Levy is gonna be there, Shanty Sweets, and Calibi. Sankofa, Restaurant and Bar, 1653 Eglinton Avenue West. Now it's time to play music. I need music in my soul. We hear them tune here. You know, even with all of the fighting and the anger and things, sometimes you have to go, man, deal with your spousal unit, your wife or your husband, spousal unit. And when you play them tune here, you know, it's a good vibe. So run it, my brother.
Lost our music, you're the sweetest sound, playing all over town. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Oh, Love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Girl, you got me here tonight.
Queen Iauwata, DNA and True versus you put the Jack here on the fans and more Jack, right? Yes, yeah.
We're ready in 7 days with IBADAN next.
Yeah, okay.
Your sweet love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Don't try to tease me. Loving me it's so easy. Let your feelings flow. Let your love life flow. Oh, love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Your sweet love's got a hold on me. Yeah. Your love's got a hold on me. Make love till morning light, 'cause your love got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Your sweet love's got a hold on me. Yeah. Your love's got a hold on me. It's moving all over, so let's meet like crimson and clover.
Let's stay together.
Forever through rainy weather. 'Cause your love, your sweet, sweet love's got a hold on me. Your love's got a hold on me. Your sweet love.
with your money.
Yeah, man.
I'm blind in the daytime.
Suck out the yeah, man. You only can read digital.
Trust me, King.
When I reach to that stage already, I'm the digital I could have read. I can't read off a paper.
I got mentioned I want to can't sit down. If I remember correctly, this is the VP Records Dennis Brown tribute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, stay a little bit. Lion bells are crazy.
Which one? Lion bells? Instrumental, right?
Whichever.
Which one is it?
Pick one.
Number 9?
You pick one, I said.
Yeah, praise him.
You pick it. Whatever you play.
No, man. Which one you want?
Pick one. Yeah. Alright. Okay. What's up? And then, because film sang them long too, so. Set it up for me just in case you have to leave your room. I'm gonna play one more track and I'm gonna play that one there. Rubber dub style, bassline, dancehall, Frankie Paul, dancehall Paul, reggae music, bassline. Hey, that's what's going on, reggae music. Sweetie, you never need words. That love got a hold on me is a Dennis Brown original. This one is covered by Sanchez on the VP Records compilation. Tribute to Dennis Brown. Various artists on it, whole heap of people. And this was getting enough of the track when Dennis sings it, and Sanchez did an amazing job. I'm gonna run some more tune. This next track, I always big up the band where I used to manage one time. And they played, reggae is played in 3/4. I understand, overstand. I don't play any instruments, so 4/5, 3/4, whatever I play. This Benjamin Peter Holong, the bass player, said he is going to show that reggae can be played in 7/8. For you people out there who understand what that means, and I was at a club one night at Lula Lounge where Howard, the sound man, was there. And he's a musician, and he counted through the entire track, and he goes, that's the first time he's ever heard reggae in 7/8. This is the track. Run, my brother. And now you're being into all things.
Say it's time to come down. Check out the new vibes and sound. The Rastaman done say, sun shall not smile eye by day. I, oh, but find the powers to break. hungry. Jah won't make you hungry. The spirit is rich. Even when you're poor, you can find your way to close the door. Sometimes your head down low. People pick it up, don't you know? Jah is by your side. Good wins over evil every time. Fret not thyself, don't you worry. Jah won't make you hungry. The spirit is rich. Even when you're poor, you can find your way to close the door. Sometimes you get down low. People pick it up, don't you know? Jah is by your side, yeah.
It's amazing, you know, that tune there. No man, I get to hear it for the first time. It happens every time. Everybody gets quiet and listen to it. Sticks in your head. It's a Rastafari tune, you know. That's what reggae music does to you. I want to say thank you again for listening in tonight, Roots Reggae Radio Conscious Thought. As I mentioned at the top of the show, our Adrian, one of the leaders of reggae music in this country, one of the greatest contributors of reggae music worldwide, Iauwata Selassie, passed away this morning. And I will live in the memory of his gifts. Fortunately, through Canadian Reggae World, we have been able to film a bunch of his performances in the past few months. So I feel grateful to have that in my hand. And I will release that to everyone. It's not for me, it's for him. I'm going to play one more tune, you know. Papa High Stick. Play what you want to play, my friend. What on you?
Praise him.
The one is called Praise Him. Iauwata Selassie. Iauwata Band.
working.
I hear a calling over here. I am calling over here. I hear a calling over there.
Over land and sea. We're going to play our next one for you. As we
And I hear a calling over here.
praise the life
I hear
of Iauwata Selassie.
over land and sea. Way over land and sea, way over land and sea, way over land and sea, way over land and sea. I hear a calling over land and sea.
Which one you want?
Praise.
Which one is number one? So, which one play now? Put play number 10. Number 10 on the one on the left. Number 10. That's praise. Okay. 10 praise then.
Way over land and sea, way over land and sea, way over land and sea, way over land and sea.
Maybe just finish it off for that one. I want to go back to that club. Yeah, it's not going with that. But that's the instrumental. You know,
The same tune.
I want instrumental.
Yeah, man, the other one they should have played.
Yeah, that one you want to play.
Okay.
Now you're doing the soldier, you know? Yeah, you know. Overland and sea. We praise him. That is the Nyabengi warrior, the one called Iauwata Selassie, passed away this morning. Yeah. I had the blessing of working with him, and so have hundreds and thousands of, well, not hundreds and thousands, but a whole heap of artists where perform reggae music in Toronto, perform with or have an Iauwata story, or learn to play the instrument they play from him. He had an ear for music. One night we were at Remix, and a fiddler came in, a fiddler, a Scottish youth, and him and Iauwata went to town, and we filmed it. It may not be the greatest film, but when you see that, and we have understanding of it, we help Iauwata, we come in and put on the things and sit down, and his hands are like, you know, can't open up his fingers them from having strokes. And when he starts to play the keyboard, man, it's one of the cleanest lines you'll ever hear in your life. So my brethren pass, and we do what we can to elevate and introduce and let the world know who this man was. Bonnie Wheeler, who doesn't really rate up a lot of people, it's like when him to Iauwata anyway, him run go up to Iauwata. Enough people do that. Saying he had that presence about him. Cara Brown was the one who gave me the news, and you know, she said she was sitting down quietly at home. And I said, yeah, you know, again, I was doing the same actually when I heard, and but the first thing came to my mind when I thought about him was his warmth and his smile. Like everybody talk about them things there when people pass, but if you knew Iauwata, always with love and vibes. And we'll cuss you too, you know. I'm not afraid for cuss you. But a beautiful soul, he made everybody feel special around him. So yeah. We have about 4 minutes to go. I want to say Ites up to the one called Ites. Thank you for your help. Zaya Isamos, I don't know where you're at, but hopefully you're listening. Anthony, yeah, we're talking. Pastor man Errol, always a blessing, my brother. Tall people, that's how it works. And Ammoye Evans, it's up to you. For standing your ground for yourself, and in so doing, you open the door for reggae media, which is a necessary part of all of us growing. Thank you for being brave and strong, young lady. You obviously do make a difference. And the message is the same, man. Emancipation, colonialism, them have us celebrating shit that are just words, they ain't doing nothing for you. Never did shit for you. Stop listening to these bullshit words and stop meeting with these people. Meet amongst yourselves. Create amongst ourselves. You've been hearing the information for too long to not believe it to be true. Marcus Garvey told you over 100 years ago. So, what we do?
Declare some right.
We're going to do some declaration of rights. I'm going to run the same tune again because I'm not sure you heard it the first time. Run with it.
Right through these years, hustling and fighting, what? Amongst ourselves. nothing to achieve. Keep this way. It's worse than I have.
Get up and fight for your right. Get up and fight for your right. Took us away from
civilization.
You're just a slave in this field.
Plantation.
So still fighting.
The girl them still come? Yeah, man, yeah, man. Alright, good. I like to hear that. Leave them there.